Hey everybody, Danny here with Close GPT. Wanted to throw together another video, kind of going through the interface of Close GPT, and let's get started. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my window here, and I am in a demo account, and we're basically going to explain the AI employee interface. That way we can show everybody around, and then in the future videos, we're going to be building. We're going to be using it, we're going to be grabbing use cases, and we're going to be building together. All right. So the first thing I see here is all of the different AI employees we've created. And you can see we've been busy. We built a lot of them, and we can go in here and we can see names, we can see the company, the role, and some stats here. All right. And if we wanted to create a new AI employee, we would just hit the button here. Now, just a reminder, even though we're going to go over this in a future video, I like to build on the custom, which is available on the pro plan. I actually get better results, but we're not going to go through that right now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab one of these employees. Let's go with, let's see if any of these stick out to me. We'll just grab Chad here. All right, so let's go ahead and start with what we have here. I like to kind of work from back to forward, like because this is where we do most of our work. I'm going to start with our logs. Logs are kind of where we can go to look to troubleshoot. It's very, very helpful if we are connected to a third-party system. In there, we can see the inbound, outbound payload. We can see a lot of what's going on here. And we'll cover that because I'm sure when we're making videos live, uncensored, we're gonna be like, oh, I messed up, or maybe I find something I want to look deeper into. And I'm going to go to the logs and I'm going to pay special attention to my dates and see what's going on here. Okay. Then we have our communication tools. All right. The communication tools are basically the messaging channels. All right. So most people are going to be using the SMS. And if you have an available phone number, you can select your phone number or purchase it. Now, keep in mind, when you're first signing up, you have to go through an SMS verification, and that could take some time. That is not us. We are basically helping you submit your application, going to a third party. They charge their fees to, excuse me, to verify you, to vet you, and everything like that. And they want to make sure that you're a good player, right? And what happens is that the spammers look really good at looking legitimate. So those of us that are legitimate have a harder time getting through. Okay. So most people do the SMS, but there's some other things in here. I'm not going to go too deep, but we can connect to Plivo. We have Twilio if you want to use Twilio for your AI employee. Now, the close agent webhook is how you're able to connect to third-party systems. And I'm going to be doing a video on how to be able to connect the system to high level here very, very soon. I'm just putting together some documentation. And then, of course, we have Zapier and Pabbly, which is no different than the webhook. It's just being able to connect our system to a third-party platform. Maybe you use a different SMS, a different tool that you like, and if they allow it through Zapier or Pabbly or through an API, we would be connecting it with one of these three things. Okay. Then we have our AI training data. Okay. And what we do here is this is where we give a website for your AI employee to learn from. This is where we can enter in frequently asked questions. This is where we can put all kinds of stuff. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab a website real quick. And just for example, I'm going to put in the full web address of closegpt.ai, and I'll make it the title. I'm going to hit submit. And then what it's going to do is it's going to go and quickly go crawl the website, right? And we can go ahead and add questions and answer like our FAQs and what are your business hours? I can put, what are your business hours? Okay. And then you answer it as if you want it to, how you want it to answer to your customers, right? Our business hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we'll just keep it simple. You can put whatever. And what you see every time I make a change, I want to go in here and I want to hit the start training. So it causes the AI, it triggers for it to go back and relearn, right? And so it's going to recrawl these 20 pages and learn everything here. Okay. And it could take a few minutes for it to do it, but this is what the AI training data is for. Okay, the assigned work is I kind of covered this in the last video, but this is how it knows who to message, right? I'm a big fan of manual mode, and really manual sounds like, oh, I got to do all the work. I still use automations in manual mode. Hunting mode is just a different way of doing the exact same thing. Okay. In hunting mode, I can just give it a tag, and let's just say soccer's the tag I want. No idea why that's there. But everybody that gets the tag soccer in hunting mode will automatically be assigned to this employee. In manual mode, I would do it in automations. I would say when someone fills out this form, assign them to this AI employee. So really, there's just two different ways of doing the same thing. Okay. Then we have our settings. Okay. In our settings, we have quite a few things in here. The most important of which, other than, of course, turning it on, which it will not let me, it's going to protect myself because I don't have a phone number yet, is the business hours. I want to be able to set my time zone so it knows when to work, right? And if you're doing SMS and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you stay within your hours to not blast people outside your allowable text times. Okay. And you can turn on and off days, change your hours, and so forth. Okay. Some of these settings are when you originally created your AI. You can go in and talk about your company, your values, change the name of your employee, the industry, and so forth. Okay. Now, let's go back. When everything's set up, I can on the AI employee, and then it is active, and then it will be able to be selected in automation. So if you ever see your AI grayed out, it's because it's not on. You want it to be on. If not, you're going to think you assigned it. It's not on. So it's there to protect you. Okay. Enable natural delay. So what that means is, AI it does take a moment to reply because it's got to be generated and everything like that. But if you're sending large replies, it's not necessarily natural to reply in 10 seconds with a book. So you can click this, and what it'll do is it'll basically add about 1 second per word to make it seem more natural. Okay. In the AI safety, this is something I don't personally mess with, but there is a use case for it. Okay. Like what happens is it's reading the tone of your conversation. If the customer starts getting negative or very negative, and think of negative like they can get angry, they can be they could say something really sad like someone died in the family or something like that. What this is doing is saying when it picks up on the sentiment of the messaging, stop at this level. Right now, it's sending all, but as the second it starts getting negative, it's going to trigger a human rollover, or very negative is just less sensitive. I can tell you personally, I like to send all AI messages because it's really good at handling, negative comments with dignity and respect. But there are use cases. Maybe you want slightly negative. Maybe you want very negative, right? Remember, very negative is the next level down. It's basically saying they have to be really, really negative before this triggers rather than just slightly. So this is the slightly negative is more aggressive. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off. Unsure of response action. What is this? This is what the AI will do when it's not sure. Maybe it doesn't have training data. We can leave it in auto mode where it'll do its best. We can do manual mode, which as you see here is hold the AI message for my approval and don't send the customer a message. In other words, it's going to let you see it before it sends it. It needs you to interact. Okay. Rollover, no notification mode. It's going to trigger a human rollover and don't send the customer anything like, hold on, let me get someone to help or anything like that. This is the next setting where it'll do the rollover, but it's going to say, absolutely, this is what it's going to send to the customer while it's notifying you to take over. And then the custom message mode is just basically saying, I don't have the answer. It's just saying, I don't know. Okay. And then when there's an unexpected error, maybe OpenAI or whatever's not acting right, these are the settings. They're very similar to the ones up here. What do you want it to do? Okay. And then the rate limits. This is something that is really more of a safety feature. And what I mean by that is we've actually had AI talking to AI, where someone has connected it to another AI, whether it was their own, I don't remember, where they were just playing with it, or it connected to another AI. And what happened is they just went in circles sending messages back and forth, back and forth. And so what this does is it puts a hard limit of how many messages it can have with that conversation before it says, I'm done, right? And so 50 is a really, really good number, but that just means that it's not going to talk for days and bring up your bill, right? Because it's going to think it's talking to a human. It's going to keep on trying to achieve its goal. So this is kind of a safety mechanism. I can say it's never happened to me, but I've seen it happen once, and that's why that feature exists. Okay, and now we are in the main interface. Okay, so this is where we do a majority of our building. And let me kind of give you a very brief overview. We're going to get really deep into this when we actually start building. All right. So right now I'm in the test chat mode, which means I can have conversations with my AI. I can reset it. And what it's doing is it's starting with its intro message, which is in our opening messages here, and we can edit them and add variables and so forth like that. And we can add messages, delete messages. And then when someone is added, they're going to get this one of these 5 intro messages. It's going to choose, right? And what happens is once it sends that intro message, there are these revive settings. Revive settings are, well, what if the customer doesn't respond? So if you said, hey, Danny, this is Chad from IT Solutions. We're here to help you with your IT needs. How can we assist you today? Well, after a day, it's going to try to re-engage, and it's going to do that 4 times. So you can delete settings. You can make it a little less, like check in 4 days after the no reply after the 1 day. And so this is really, really cool. This is actually one of my favorite features in our AI employee system, because most AI, it's like a tennis match. You know, you're just hitting the ball back and forth between the human and the AI. But the second the customer or the human stops replying, the match is over. Not with Closed GPT, not with our system. That is why we have the revive setting. So we can control how many times we want it to retry before it gives up. Okay. And we have a bunch of settings in all these different conversation stages. Okay. I'm going to get to that. So it's all related. Now we have our conversation goal. Now I like the conversation goal to be the ultimate goal. You can put a lot of information in here, and we'll get into best practices with goals in a future video. But this is the main goal: to book a consultation, and then the why, the purpose. Are we reaching out because they filled out a form, or they saw us at a trade show, or they replied to an ad, or they were a customer and we're just reaching out. We're just giving it the why, right? And then the conversation stages are basically topics, stages, right? We can see here that it introduces itself. It's going to ask some questions, understand the needs, and based on those needs, schedule a meeting and then close. And then maybe they may say they're not interested. So these are all the possible outcomes where we want to give specific instructions for these stages of the conversation. Okay, and in each stage, everything has its own instructions, right? So with the instructions, this is where we tell it what to do, what not to do, hints, so forth like that. And all the while it is using the AI training data to help, okay? Here, each stage has its own revive settings. Here in our revive settings, we can add actions, we can add tags, maybe, dead lead after they don't reply after 4 revive attempts. We have our trigger actions. What happens? Like I'm going to go to stage 2 here. Well, when they get to this stage and it follows these directions and these revives, we have trigger actions. So when the customer lands in this stage, we have all these different actions. We're going to go into those in detail in a future video, right? And then we have our conversation vision, and this is often overlooked. What conversation vision means is that when they are in this stage, where are they allowed to go? All right. They're allowed to go from understanding needs to scheduling a meeting. Now, I could tell that they also need to go to not interested. So there's a lot of, should they be able to say they're not interested? Like maybe hey, tell me more about your IT needs. Oh, no, I'm too busy right now. Okay, well, that's going to take them to the not interested. I want it to be able to progress there. So this is very, very important, the vision. Okay. And that is basically our general interface. What I hope to do tomorrow is I want to basically start building. I want to create a bot from beginning to end, and where you guys can see at least my process on how to build an AI. I'm going to start inviting people. If you're interested in coming on live and sharing your use case and we build live, you're welcome to fill out a form, ask about it in the comments. We'll send you the link, and we build together. And we want to basically help the community learn by showing real life use cases. All right. I hope everybody has a great day. We're here if you need us. Comment below if you have any questions, and we'll see you on